Alright, battlers, I have a classic matchup for you today. This is what you've been waiting for. This is the Timeless Cup in a nutshell. We are taking a look at a classic face-off between Blastoise and Charizard. I have a special guest on this video that is Wizap7. You need to go check out his channel immediately. He is an awesome battler and makes great content. He's a lot like Call Me Jake in that he offers a meta description and then awesome battles at the end. Trainers, you do not want to miss these fights. They are so much fun. Let's get into it. For game one, I will open with Dragonair versus that shiny Charizard. Trainers, you know we have to watch out for that Dragon Claw, but Dragonair has its Aqua Tail as well. So I am going to fire that off before he gets to the Dragon Claw, and it is going to get shielded. I know that Dragon Claw will take roughly 60% of Dragonair's health, so I have to shield that as well. I'm hopeful that I can do a lot of damage with these Dragon Breaths and hopefully force this Charizard to switch out, but he sticks to his guns. I'm going to be able to Dragon Breath down the Charizard, but I gave up both of my shields in the process. In comes Lapras. I'm going to go straight for the Dragon Pulse here, hoping to land and do a ton of damage, and we do exactly that. So Wizap is hanging on to his last shield, but I do get to the Aqua Tail. Dragonair is such a beast in this cup. It is such a monster. Trainers, definitely, you need to get a good IV Dragonair if you don't have one already. He had a ton of energy built up, but I brought in Gloom, and the Razor Leaf just erases that Lapras. In comes Drapion with the Ice Fang, and Gloom is going to get Ice Fanged all the way down. Luckily, I do have Blastoise in the back. So my Blastoise does have the sunglasses from the community day. I'm going to use a few of these water guns here, and we are almost going to water gun down that Drapion, but in comes the crunch, and Blastoise is going to pull this out in the clutch with the water guns. Taking a look at game two, I will lead Dragonair again, and we encounter Wizap's Charizard. So Team Charizard is built to complement that Pokemon. You'll see a lot of really good choices that Wizap made when he was building his team, including Drapion, Venomoth, and a few others. So here we go with Dragonair versus Charizard like we saw in game one. I'm going to catch this Dragon Claw here with the Blastoise, and I know to Blastoise this is no big deal, just like that punch we saw in the intro clip there. In comes Victory Bell though, and I'm suddenly in serious trouble. I wasn't able to get to my Ice Beam, and I should have fired off the Hydro Cannon, but I waited too long. In comes Lapras, and here I'm just trying to use these Ice Shards to work down the Victory Bell. Anticipating the Acid Spray, I do not shield, and it is Acid Spray. Luckily, I was able to QSA my Surf here and then fire it off. So the Victory Bell does shield it. Now Wizap is out of shields, but this is still a very, very precarious situation for Dragonair. In comes Charizard. We're able to Dragon Breath it down. In comes Venomoth, and trainers, look at this. We land this gigantic Dragon Pulse, and we are going to almost bring down Venomoth, but not before he gets off one more attack. We're going to burn our last shield here, and then Dragon Breath for the win. Taking a look at this next game, I will lead my Blastoise into Drapion. I don't need to worry about that Ice Fang, but in comes Victory Bell, and I gotta bail out of there. I do go into my Lapras here. Again, not a great answer for Razor Leaf Victory Bell, but the Ice Shards are gonna work it down pretty quickly. I'm not able to get to a second Surf there, which is really unfortunate. He might actually have an attack-weighted Victory Bell, which is something very, very special. I have my back against the wall, trainers. I do fire off my Hydro Cannon here, but Blastoise is not going to hang on very much longer. We do have both of our shields though. In comes Drapion, and here comes our hero, Sudowoodo. Sudowoodo is going to drop this first Rock Slide on the Drapion. It's got two shields, and if this battle is familiar, it's because I pulled this battle from the Sudowoodo feature that I aired yesterday on the channel. So we are going to try to bring this back as quickly as we can, but it's going to be very, very tough, trainers. If you don't know the ending, don't spoil it for anybody else. In comes that Venomoth. We're going to fire off a few counters to work it down just a little bit. I'm going to shield this Poison Fang from the Venomoth, and we get to the Rock Slide, trainers. Will it be enough? And it is. Sudowoodo pulls out that victory, super clutch. Going to the next game, I will lead Gloom into Lapras. So this is a very interesting strategy by Wizap here. He does not want to give up switch priority, so he actually stays in with Lapras, opting to chip down my Gloom as much as possible. At first, I thought that was a mistake, but you'll see how skilled of a trainer he is later on in this fight. I do bring in my Lapras here to face off against the Venomoth, and I'm going to shield this first attack. So it is a Poison Fang. He does have that Legacy Venomoth, which is very cool. He is still keeping both of his shields though, so he does have a great amount of defense that we have to break through. I decided to bring in my Blastoise here and try to chip down with these water guns. I know Blastoise can take whatever this is, and I've got a lot of energy on Lapras, so I am prepared. But in comes the Victory Bell, trainers, and this is bad news bears for our team. I do fire off the Ice Beam, but it is not useful at all because those shields are still up. Here comes a Skull Bash from Lapras, and it's still not enough. Guys, Wizap takes us down with the Victory Bell in style. Taking a look at the next game, I will lead Sudowoodo into Venomoth, the old nemesis face-off yet again, as we saw 2 games ago. This time, the Venomoth is going to go for the Poison Fang, which I do not shield. Not very effective damage. Sudowoodo takes that no problem. Here comes a Rock Slide from me, and it is shielded. Wizap knows at this point that Rock Slide would KO. He is electing to stay in, though, and I'm going to push Sudowoodo to the edge. I'm going to absorb that Poison Fang and go for one more Rock Slide. If this lands, it will drop that Venomoth, but it does not. Wizap invests both shields on the Venomoth. In comes Dragonair. And I do want to keep my Dragonair healthy. It's such a great generalist. You never know when you might need that extra little bit of health to deal with something like a Lapras or a Celio in the back. So I do fire off the Aqua Tail here to bring down Venomoth, which is great for us. In comes that Charizard, and the shields are down, trainers, but he gets to the Dragon Claw first. Charizard is so deadly. I'm still really loving it in this cup. I do fire off my Aqua Tail because the shields are down. We know how this goes. In comes his last Pokemon, and it will be Victreebel. Victreebel is going to bring this pretty close. I go here into Gloom, and it is a Razor Leaf race. If he's able to land something like a Sludge Bomb, this might change the game, but he does have Acid Spray and Leaf Blade on his Victreebel. So even though we are weakened, Gloom is going to spin to win, and we take that game as well. Taking a look at the next game, I will lead Haunter into Lapras, and this is a matchup that not a lot of us have seen, but we're going to show you right here how it goes. So Wizap is going to fire off a few of those Ice Shards here. He is gaining up a lot of energy really quick, but I do go for the Shadow Punch, and look at this. Haunter is so fast, I get to another Shadow Punch. So we are putting a ton of pressure on this Lapras. He is not going to shield that second one either. He does go for a charge move here, and I'm going to let Haunter fall. It is the Skull Bash, and even though it's resisted, it is enough to beat us. I do bring in that Gloom there to finish it off with the Razor Leaf. Out comes Venomoth though, and Wizap has played himself into a very good position here. He knows that Venomoth will totally wreck my Gloom once he brings it back out. In comes Victreebel though, and this is not a hard counter for Dragonair by any means, but we go for the Dragon Pulse, and he is smart. He decides to shield at that time. Those Razor Leafs are going to do a ton of damage here to our Dragonair. I'm going to get off one more Aqua Tail, but it is shielded. He's going to hang on to that Victreebel, realizing that he doesn't need shields for that Venomoth in the back, especially not after this Acid Spray. Our Gloom is like paper mache, and these confusions are going to rip us apart. He does have a charge move though, which will be the Poison Fang, and that will do it for that game as well. Taking a look at this game, I will lead Dragonair into Octillery, trainers, and if you know what moves Octillery has, let me know in the comments below. I learned what moves it has because of this. I decide not to shield expecting a water move, and boom, Aurora Beam almost one-shots Dragonair. Very, very critical mistake. Let's see if we can bring it back. He does take down my Dragonair. In comes that Blastoise, and again, this isn't a great matchup, but I think Blastoise has enough bulk to pull it off. He's going to drop that Acid Spray on us, though, before he leaves, and he's actually going to get to another move. This Octillery does have Mud Shot, so it's going to charge extremely quickly, and my Blastoise is flimsy like paper in the wind. In comes Victreebel, and I know that I have to fire this off in order to get any damage off before those Razor Leafs take us down. I go for the double Hydro Cannon. He does shield one of them, but not the second one. I do decide to bring in Lapras, and with the shields down and such a health advantage, I know Lapras can pull this off. Lapras is such a beast in this cup. As we already know, it's going to be on everybody's team practically, and if you don't have it, that is a really rare, spicy thing, so stay spicy, trainers. In comes an attack. It will be Crunch, and I do have plenty of shields at my disposal, so I'm able to hit the Skull Bash here to bring down Drapion and bring that match back. Taking a look at this game, I will lead Blastoise into Victreebel, and I am scared. I got to get out of there quick. I don't have a great answer, though, so I do decide to go into Haunter. If you don't have a good answer for the Razor Leafer on your team of 3, you really are in serious trouble, trainers. You really need to watch out for that when you look at a team composition. If you see something like a Venusaur or a Meganium, you can say, okay, well, it probably will be Vine Whip. Odds are it'd be Vine Whip, so maybe my team composition should be a little bit different. But if you see that Razor Leafer, you have to be prepared. Otherwise, it will delete you, as you just saw there. Sudowoodo comes in and barely survives the Razor Leaf onslaught. In comes Drapion, and something about this game is very familiar, trainers. Let's see what we can do with this matchup here. I do decide to try to farm down this Drapion, but he's going to get to the Crunch, which I will decide to shield. We take him down, and out comes our nemesis, Venomoth. We're going to hit that Rock Slide, trainers, but will it be enough? It is not. Venomoth is going to finish us with the confusion, and that was Venomoth's revenge. Going to the next game, I will lead Dragonair into that Victory Bell. This is a pretty positive matchup for Dragonair, especially when you factor in no shielding. So here we go with the Aqua Tail, and Victory Bell does shield that. I know he really wants to get off this Acid Spray on my Dragonair, and I'm going to allow it, not going to burn his shield there, because I want to win the lead and win switch advantage. I did QSA my Surf there, so unfortunately I had to spend that energy when I would have preferred to just use my Dragon Breaths. In comes Charizard, and here we go. The two are matched up. Blastoise versus Charizard. Whatever this is, I know Blast can take it. It is a Blast Burn though, so it does hurt pretty badly. I bring in Sudowoodo here to face off against the Venomoth, and I know these Poison Fangs won't do much damage at all. I do think Silver Wind is probably the right way to go if you double move your Venomoth, because it even gives you the chance of getting the boost, which is really, really nice. Like King would say, give me the boost. So here we go. We are going to shield this Poison Fang here and get to another Rock Slide to finish off Venomoth. We know now from our practice that it is within KO range, and that was super effective. In comes Charizard, but I'm not concerned. Blastoise has that Hydro Cannon ready, and we are going to wrap this matchup nicely. Going to the next round, I will lead my Blastoise into Octillery. So we know that this Octillery is carrying Acid Spray and Aurora Beam. I'm going to swap in a Haunter here, trainers, and catch that gooey Acid Spray with the Poison type Haunter. Not very effective damage, but Haunter is Poison type and these Mud Shots are Ground type. So these Mud Shots are doing a ton of damage, much more than I expected. I do go here for the Dark Pulse, trying to get this Octillery off the battlefield, but he does decide to shield. So again, I think a better choice there would have been double Shadow Punches, but we live and we learn from our battles. So here comes Blastoise, and we get hit with another Acid Spray. Octillery is so tough to deal with. Being a water type, if you don't have a strong grass type user on your team, it can be very, very difficult to get rid of. In comes Victory Bell, and I bail out into Lapras. I am able to Ice Shard down the Victory Bell, which is really nice, but we paid a hefty price. I fire off this Skull Bash here against Drapion, hoping that it will land, but Wizap does shield it. So this is a very sticky situation. I do have two shields, but my Blastoise is so weak. Lapras is able to get to the Surf here. Because of that defense boost, those Ice Fangs were just not adding up. I'm going to burn my first shield here, and now I'm pretty confident I can get to that Hydro Cannon to wrap this up, and we do just that. This is it, trainers, the final match of the video. I will lead Haunter into Octillery. We just saw this matchup a moment ago, so we're going to play this one a little bit differently. I do go for the Shadow Punches here instead of going straight Dark Pulse. He does decide to shield that first one, and in comes an attack. Expecting the Acid Spray, I don't shield, and it is Acid Spray, but I know that Haunter is not long for this world. I do go for my Dark Pulse here, trying to get that Octillery off the battlefield, but he does double shield it, which is not great for us. I know another Acid Spray is coming because he can't have enough energy for an Aurora Beam, right? Well, we're going to play it really safe and shield, and here comes the Aurora Beam, so definitely a good thing that we shielded there. I did Dragon Breath it down, and out comes the Venomoth. Venomoth doesn't have any shields to protect it, so I am going to defend my Dragonair and then try to go for this Dragon Pulse. I do swap into Blastoise though, and keep that Dragon Pulse in my back pocket for later. He's going to fire off the Poison Fang, and Blastoise can tank that no problem. In comes the Victory Bell though, and we are luckily able to get to the Ice Beam. Very clutch by Blastoise there, super effective one shot. In comes that Venomoth again, and we have energy from before. I go for that Aqua Tail to wrap things up. Trainers, if you are not subscribed to Wizap7 yet, I highly recommend it. He doesn't produce daily content, but when he does, it is very good quality stuff. If you want to support Pokemon Go PvP as a community and support the content creators, definitely check out his channel. I will leave a link in the description below. Guys, there are more battles to this set we have here. If you want to see more of these battles between Wizap and I, go over to his channel right now and check him out.